Hi, Patchwork family. It's Alex here. It's another Wellness Wednesday, and today I have a special guest again. I have Miss Johanna, and she is joining us from the Patchwork office. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good.
Did I
Yeah,
say
just
it
got
right? Is
into
it Johanna?
yes, Johanna.
How long have you been at Patchwork now?
So I've been at Patchwork for about it's August. So I've been at Patchwork for about 7 months and some change. So
Ooh,
I'm still fairly new, but I'm learning a lot. Yeah, and I've really enjoyed my time so far. So
oh boy, 7 months. Yeah, it time goes by quick, huh?
it does. It's flown for sure.
So, for those people online that don't know you, um, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you come to Patchwork here?
Yeah, so I'm from Central Illinois. I'm from a couple hours south west of Elmhurst in Chicago. But I currently live in Chicago in Bucktown. Um and I graduated with my master's a couple of years ago, and a good friend of mine works at Patchwork, and I had been in contact with her for a while about how much she loved the work that she did here. Um, and I had been involved with different kinds of social work and counseling related endeavors for several years. And once I had graduated, I was kind of trying to figure out what would be the best fit for me. And I myself have been in therapy for many years. I found it to be really, really helpful, and a good, consistent outlet for me. And I wanted to be able to provide that for others. I feel like I've been able to provide that to people in my personal life on a pretty consistent basis. And so I felt like this is a good career path for me for a while. And so my good friend Nelson got me connected, and I'm so happy to have been with Patchwork for this long, and I'm looking forward to continuing to learn here too.
Oh, that was so much for me.
Was that a lot? Sorry.
No, that's
Okay.
I want to dig into. You kept saying things, and I wanted to know more about it. So, what you were doing, like therapy and social work, you said, or
Yeah, so I before go and during when I was in grad school, I worked at a housing nonprofit up in Rogers Park in Chicago, for about 4 or 5 years, doing like case management and counseling type things for formerly homeless individuals in Chicago who have like chronic illnesses. I worked on a program for clients with HIV and AIDS. So I've done social work type endeavors in that way for a while. And I really enjoyed that work and found it really fulfilling and enlightening. Um, and I'm happy to kind of transition over to the private sector after having done work for HUD, Housing Department of Housing and Urban Development, for quite a while. So it's definitely a learning curve, but I am really enjoying it, and I feel like it's a good fit for me. So I'm excited.
and you said you were from Central Illinois,
Yep.
but you're living in the city now. How long have you lived in Chicago? Because obviously you worked there before.
Yeah, so I moved to Chicago in 2018. Before that, I lived in Spokane, Washington for a year. I did a year of service through the Jesuit Volunteer Corps. And then before that, I graduated with my bachelor's degree from St. Louis University in Missouri. So yeah, ever since I've been in Chicago since 2018, about 6-ish years now. And I love Chicago. It's great. I've lived all over the city and probably 5 or 6 neighborhoods at this point. So
Oh,
I like it there a lot.
every neighborhood is different. They
Yeah,
all have so many different, unique parts. It's like, and you live right
absolutely.
across the street.
Yeah, absolutely. So much good food, so many different looks and architecture styles. It's exciting. I like it a lot. Yeah.
What was your favorite thing in St. Louis?
I really like the Hill, which is like in a little Italian neighborhood in St. Louis. A lot of good restaurants, a lot of interesting bars that have been there for over 100 years, even some lots of good food in that neighborhood. There are a lot of good little pockets of culture in St. Louis that I think a lot of people don't know about. St. Louis is kind of a hidden gem in my opinion. But yeah, I really love the food on the hill. The Del Mar Loop is a really cool music scene. There's a lot of cool areas in St. Louis. So
What was your favorite thing in Spokane?
Spokane was a really interesting city. It wasn't as mountainous, and as similar to other Pacific Northwest cities that I visited. I really liked being close to Gonzaga. It's Gonzaga university is in Spokane. And I really did like the hiking around Spokane. There was a lot of beautiful, there's a mountain called Mount Spokane, that I would hike a lot. So yeah, a lot of outdoor naturey stuff.
A lot more quiet outdoor.
Totally. Yeah. A little bit more serene than some of the city life that I'm used to now. So,
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about what you do at Patchwork.
yep. So I work with adolescents, young adults, older adults, middle age. I work with everyone basically from the ages of like 12, 13, all the way up to 50s, 60s. So I kind of run the whole gamut. I have a handful of high school students, a handful of students going to college, a handful of people in their mid 30s and 40s. So I kind of the whole spectrum. I hit almost every group. So
Yeah, high school and college, those are big, scary times. And then being an adult is scary.
oh, absolutely. Don't I know it? Yeah. That transition from young adulthood to adulthood, I think is can be really jarring for a lot of people. So it's helpful to kind of, I think, have someone to kind of guide you through that and provide just some perspective here and there.
So with the kids, I know we've talked about, or I've talked about getting back into routines and schedules, but
Mhm.
I think it's interesting. We had the Olympics like a couple weeks ago finish up, and Simone Biles talked about how she needed to keep her schedule with her therapist and how
Mm-hmm.
important it was to keep that routine even amongst the change of her schedule, and like some of your kids are going off to college and stuff, keeping a consistent routine with your therapist,
Yeah.
and the importance that can play in helping you to navigate the all the things that come at you during those changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I think too during the summer, when there's less of a structured schedule, and less of just like a general structure at all, it's easy for therapy appointments to kind of be the consistent part of your day or of your week that you look forward to. Because I know inconsistency and lack of structure in the summer is something that does really impact kids and young adults and adults. Um, and can be kind of jarring in some ways that are more negative than we give it credit for. And then, yeah, the transition back to school, it's so sudden. You go from having no commitments 7 days a week to having to go to school for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, was just a really, really big transition. So, yeah, maintaining that spot and that consistency with your therapist can feel like a good foundation, especially when it feels like everything else is changing. That's a good kind of, I know I keep using the word consistent, but a good steadfast person and appointment that can kind of make a lot of kids and adults feel grounded, I think.
For sure. And especially having a good therapist that can
Totally.
walk you through it.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I touched on this briefly, but yeah, I found that it is difficult to, I think kids and young adults and even adults that have transitioned out of their 20s and late teens, find that in the summer with a little less structure, it's it's harder to find distractions. It's easier to kind of sit in feelings that may not be as pleasant or as comfortable. And distractions that are maybe more present in the fall and winter aren't always there in these summertime in these times of summer. And so it is helpful to maintain a schedule of your own sometimes. That's what I've been working on with a lot of my teens and young adults and even younger adolescents, kind of creating and maintaining a schedule of your own in the summer to kind of keep yourself occupied and entertained, and bring a little bit more utility and usefulness into your life during a time where things may feel just like a little bit more um, moving and changing in a way that you don't have as much control over. And so that's kind of what I found in the summer, that a lot of us tend to sit with our thoughts a little bit more, especially when there's a lot of more free time on our hands. And so putting a little bit more structure in that and being a little bit more intentional about that, I think can be really, really helpful.
I noticed the really cute ginkgo leaves behind you.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been spying into each of your offices sometimes while I'm on these lives. Can you give me a cool trick or tip in your office? I know I don't know if I should say, but it's already on her live. But Julie has a secret stash of chocolate in her office. What
Oh
what's
my
it from?
gosh. I need that. So I do have a couple of things. I can give you a little tour of my office.
Oh, yes.
Um,
I would love a tour.
so, well, I'll kind of start at the doorway here. So actually, let's go all the way out. I'm kind of doing this in a backwards way. This is the waiting room that I share with another therapist, um,
Oh,
Katie, who works in the same office as me.
so are you upstairs?
Yep, I'm
So when
upstairs.
clients come to see you, they have to go up that back stairway?
Yeah, some I meet downstairs in the downstairs lobby, and then some I meet up here. It just kind of depends on the person. Um, so a lot of them still like to wait downstairs. But yeah, this is available for people to wait too. We have the sound machine, so there's no noise transference, which is nice. And then this is my office. So I have my clients, I sit in this chair right here. And then I have my clients sit in one of these two orange chairs. A couple of little things I like is I have this cute little Zen garden that my
With the
clients like to
mushroom.
use. And then a lot of my clients like to do artistic things. So we have like markers and stuff like that. Recently, one of my clients and I have been doing one of these little trivia questions every single time. And then one of my favorite things is I have these mindfulness cards that I use with some of my, especially younger clients, and they just have little tips. Like take a moment to recognize the beauty around you type thing. And it goes a little bit more in depth than that, but they're really helpful and she likes to read them after every session, take a photo. And I have a couple of people that I like to do that with. So there are a couple of interesting little, especially decks of cards that I have in here that I really like. And I think really add to a session and kind of give everybody a kind of unique takeaway whenever they leave, which is really nice. There's a lot of good helpful ones in there just for anybody who's wanting to kind of center themselves and get some new tips that for things that maybe they haven't thought of before. So
Ooh, we'll have to do like a weekly tip with Miss Johanna.
yeah, can pull from here.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be fun. That's
yeah,
awesome. Oh, thanks for the tour. I love
of
that.
course. Yeah,
You're gonna
yeah,
make me ask everybody for a full tour now.
yeah, you should. Yeah, it's nice because every single space is so unique and different in a great way. Because all of the art is so unique and one of a kind, and the chairs and furniture is very unique and usually vintage or thrifted in one way or another, which provides a lot of specialness because it's a lot of stuff that's not duplicated. So it's super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it always feels very cozy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you for the tour, and thank you
Yes.
for the information and for spending a little time with us on this Wednesday and hanging out.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm excited for you to share a quote or a thing with us, a
Yeah.
mindfulness exercise.
Yeah. Totally.
Should we end with one? Do you want to?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's pull one.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, how about this? There are 4 different categories.
Ooh,
I'll give them to you. You pick a category, and then I'll pick a card from that category. There's rest and balance is one, curiosity and joy is the second, insight and awareness is the third, and then kindness is the fourth.
rest and balance.
Yeah, let's do rest and balance. Okay, I'm just going to pick randomly. Let's see.
I feel like we can always use some rest and balance.
Yeah, okay. I like the title of this one, so I just picked this one. The title is Make Space for Silence. And here's what the card says. With so many things demanding our attention all day, we can become used to having our minds filled at all times. Even when we're unwinding at home, at the end of the day, we continue the pattern by consuming more distractions through music, TV, and games. While these things are not inherently bad, their presence means it's rare for our minds to have nothing to do. By putting all distractions aside, we can see what happens when we gift ourselves silence, and such silences are useful not only for recharging but also for creativity. Try spending 10 minutes sitting quietly without distractions. So, it's helpful little tips like that.
10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah. And 10 minutes doesn't sound that long, but when you sit in silence for 10 minutes, it feels like a lot longer than
It feels very
it
scary for
actually
me
is.
to have to be silent for 10 minutes.
Yeah. So this is a fun deck. It's on Amazon. I got it for Christmas from my mom, actually. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Well, thank you for everything today. And I guess we'll each try to find 10 minutes in our schedule to sit quietly.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something I have to remind myself of too. I feel like being such busy adults and all the kids that we know and work with, it's hard to find 10 minutes, but it's definitely important. And we all have the time. It's just a matter of carving it out. So,
For sure. Yeah, and it
yeah,
doesn't have to be special time, right? Like you could do it in your driveway, in your car before you come in that, like, or
totally.
yeah, anywhere you can
Absolutely.
sit quietly for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah. You
And we'll
too.
see you soon.
Yeah. Of course. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.